The bombs fall not only on buildings, they fall on the human spirit. The sky is darker than ever, not from clouds, but from the smoke of burning cities. And the worst part? People scroll past it like it's fiction. Something sacred has been forgotten. Children flee homes that no longer exist. Mothers cradle their babies in tents of despair, and leaders sit on golden thrones built from suffering. In this age of war, disease, and division, one truth becomes clear: humanity has lost its way. This world has become a maze of madness. Gaza is bleeding. Sudan is starving. Ukraine is shattered. And still, the headlines blur into noise. The world moves on like suffering is seasonal. But Rastafari does not forget. The eyes of Jah see what Babylon hides. The war is not just out there, it is within. Within the choices we make, the silence we keep, the empathy we've allowed to die. Look around. See the separation. Racism is still alive, painted over with polite language and corporate logos. Nations build walls with one hand and wave peace flags with the other. In the so-called developed world, people overdose in alleys while skyscrapers shine above them. In the developing world, children walk miles for water, while international banks feast on their country's debt. It's a system of calculated cruelty. Babylon has engineered this, not by mistake, but by design. And Babylon is clever. It doesn't always come in the form of tanks or soldiers. Sometimes it wears a suit, smiles in press conferences, and speaks of freedom while dropping bombs. It infiltrates the minds of the people, convinces them that apathy is normal and compassion is weakness. It teaches you to fear the other, to forget the shared soul that connects us all. This is not just geopolitics. This is spiritual warfare. Now the earth itself is groaning. Forests fall at the rate of thousands of trees a minute. The ice melts, the oceans rise, fires rage, species vanish before we even know their names. And still, the world chases profit over peace. People live disconnected from nature, from ancestors, from their own breath. They consume endlessly, but are never full. They look for meaning in the very system that steals it. This is the disease of disconnection. We have become strangers to ourselves. The soul knows something is wrong, but Babylon gives us pills instead of purpose, entertainment instead of enlightenment, hashtags instead of healing. Rasta don't need a degree to see the sickness. The dreadlocks are antennas, the Nyabingi drum is a heartbeat, and the Atal way is the antidote. Jah has shown the way, but the people are running in circles. And where is love? Not the fake love of lust or likes, but the revolutionary love that Bob Marley sang about. One love. The kind of love that bridges color, creed, and country. That love has been buried beneath ego and fear. Babylon don't want you to love, because love is unity, and unity is strength. That's why they keep you fighting each other. Divide and rule, it's the oldest trick in the book. And still, the masses fall for it. Even the spiritual path is being commodified. You can now buy enlightenment in a bottle, in a course, in a weekend retreat. But Rastafari is not for sale. It's not a brand. It's a fire that burns through illusion. It's rebellion and reverence in one breath. It's the echo of Ethiopia, the cry of the ancestors, the wisdom of the roots. It is the reminder that we are divine beings trapped in a broken system, but not broken ourselves. We must ask the question, when did we begin to worship the machine and abandon the sacred? When did metal towers become more important than trees? When did we choose to numb our pain instead of facing it, healing it, and transforming it? This forgetfulness is dangerous. It's what leads to war, to hatred, to genocide. Rastafari is here to shake the memory awake, to say, "You are not this fear, you are not this hatred, you are light that has been covered, not extinguished." Right now, humanity stands on a cliff. One step further, and there may be no turning back. The wars we see are symptoms. The disease is deeper. It is the belief that we are separate, that my suffering has nothing to do with yours, that the earth is a resource and not a relative, that children dying in another land are not my concern. This is the lie, and it has infected the collective soul. But there is still time. As long as we breathe, there is a choice. Rasta teaches that redemption is possible, not through institutions or elections, but through individual awakening, through burning the illusions in the fire of truth, through coming back to the heart, to nature, to community, to the Most High. This isn't just a message, it's a vibration. If you feel it, it's because it was already inside you, waiting, longing to be remembered. Babylon can cloud the sky, but Jah's light still shines through. The only question is, will you see it? Babylon doesn't need chains to control the people anymore. It has found a more sinister weapon, the mind. In today's world, freedom is a word tossed around like currency, but in truth, most are not free. They walk around in mental cages, shaped by fear, routine, and illusion. Rastas sees this. Babylon no longer attacks the body. It invades thought, reshaping perception until the oppressed defend their oppression. From birth, the system molds you. Children are taught not to question, but to conform. Schools praise obedience, not awareness. True history, roots, and spiritual heritage are erased or distorted. Babylon wants minds that serve, not souls that search. It grooms a population that knows how to earn, but forgets how to live. The goal isn't wisdom, it's compliance. And then there's the media, Babylon's loudest mouthpiece. The news broadcasts fear. Commercials whisper inadequacy. Social media floods the senses with envy, vanity, and conflict. People scroll their lives away, comparing, consuming, forgetting. The screen has become the new altar, and attention is the sacrifice. In this chaos, the self dissolves. Entertainment isn't just about fun. It's carefully designed to shape culture and dull consciousness. It normalizes violence, glorifies greed, mocks compassion. The villains wear suits, and the heroes carry weapons. Babylon uses this to rewrite moral codes, to convince the people that domination is strength and that stillness is failure. Even religion, once a doorway to the divine, is now too often a fortress of control. Many religious institutions preach submission to earthly authority. They bless wars, build empires, and collect tithes while the poor starve. But Jah is not found in rituals void of spirit. Jah is not in marble buildings, but in the pulse of nature, in the eyes of the humble, in the song of the oppressed. Rastafari knows no priest is needed to speak to the Most High. The connection is personal, ancient, and alive. Babylon also attacks identity. It tells you to reject your roots, to hide your culture, to trade your heritage for Western approval. It promotes beauty standards built on self-hate. But the dreadlock is not just hair, it's defiance, it's memory. Rasta wears it as a crown of remembrance. We are not Babylon's product. Even time has been stolen. Babylon says time is money, and so the people rush, consume, stress, and forget the natural rhythm of life. They live by the clock, not by the sun, not by the spirit. The sacred is replaced by the schedule. Joy becomes a weekend reward. Presence becomes rare. Labels divide and conquer. Race, class, nationality, these boxes shrink the soul. Babylon wants you to identify with the label, not with the light within. But Rastafari sees through it. The true I is infinite, not black or white, not rich or poor. just I and I, divine consciousness in a human vessel. And once that is remembered, Babylon trembles. Even language has been weaponized. Words are twisted. Freedom is used to justify occupation. Progress becomes an excuse for destruction. Babylon speaks in riddles designed to confuse. But Rasta speaks plainly, truthfully, without filter, because truth doesn't need decoration. It only needs courage. Perhaps the deepest tragedy is this: many have come to love their chains. They mock those who speak truth. They defend the systems that dehumanize them. This is mental slavery, when the mind becomes the prison. But not all is lost. Sparks of awareness are rising. People are waking up slowly but surely. Some start to question the script. They turn off the noise. They seek the roots. Babylon fears this awakening. That's why it censors, distracts, ridicules. But Jah's fire cannot be extinguished. Breaking free starts with seeing the trap. Awareness is rebellion. Once you see, you can't unsee. You notice the illusions. You recognize manipulation. You feel the sacred in silence, in the trees, in your own heartbeat. Babylon loses its grip because truth is not taught, it's remembered. And once remembered, you walk differently. You consume less. You listen more. You choose presence over performance. That is revolution. Not loud, not violent, but steady and unstoppable. Rasta does not seek to conquer Babylon. Rasta seeks to starve it. And the way we starve it is by waking up. There was a time when the village raised the child, when neighbors knew each other by name, when a shared meal was more valuable than money. But now, in Babylon's design, everyone lives behind locked doors, eyes on screens, hearts grown cold. The sacred bond between people has been severed. Humanity no longer walks together. We scroll, we click, we isolate, and in this silence, the soul starves. The system has convinced us that individualism is power, that success is measured in personal gain, not collective upliftment. Do you, they say, chase the bag? But at what cost? Relationships break, trust fades, loneliness rises. People walk through cities surrounded by millions, yet feel more alone than ever. Rasta knows, we are not meant to live like this. We were created for I-90, oneness, not competition. Even family, the root of every nation, is under siege. Parents are too busy to listen. Children are raised by screens. Partners sleep in the same bed but live in different worlds. Babylon has replaced real intimacy with shallow connection, likes instead of love, comments instead of conversations. We're more connected than ever, but the connection is hollow. And when people feel unseen, unheard, unloved, they grow bitter. Hatred rises, judgment grows, compassion dies. Look around the world. Violence, prejudice, war. These are symptoms of spiritual disconnection. When we forget the divine spark in others, we become enemies. We dehumanize, we destroy. But Rasta teaches that every soul is a temple. Every being is Jah's creation. When we look at another, we should see I and I, not division. The capitalist system thrives on this disconnection. It wants us isolated, divided, suspicious. Why? Because united people are powerful, united minds are dangerous, but divided minds, they're easier to rule. Babylon invests in your separation, from your brother, from your sister, from your culture, from your roots, from yourself. But the ancient way still lives, in chants, in drumbeats, in the sacred gathering of community. When the Nyabingi drum echoes, it doesn't just make sound, it awakens memory of shared struggle, of unity, of the joy that comes not from buying, but from belonging. Rastafari gatherings are not just music, they are medicine. They remind us that healing is not a solo journey. The earth too reflects our disconnection. We pollute what we no longer feel connected to. We destroy the forests, poison the rivers, slaughter the animals, all in the name of progress. But what kind of progress kills the very mother that birthed us? Jah's creation groans under Babylon's weight, and until humanity reconnects with nature, we will never know true peace. Reconnection begins with presence. When we look into the eyes of another and see not a stranger, but a mirror. When we speak with kindness, not because it's expected, but because it's natural. When we stop chasing numbers and start nurturing souls. This is what Babylon fears, the rise of conscious community. Rasta calls us back to that sacred bond, to break bread together, to reason deeply, to chant and uplift, not as strangers in competition, but as family in vibration. We don't need to agree on everything to walk in love. What we need is heart, patience, presence. In this world of hatred, division, and fear, love is the revolution. Not the soft kind, but the kind that listens, the kind that resists apathy, the kind that says, "I see you, my brother. I hear you, my sister. We are one." That's not just poetry, that's power.
The world today is full of noise, endless opinions, endless promises, endless distractions. But where is the voice of truth? Leaders speak, but say nothing. They wear suits and stand on stages, but their hearts are empty. They build empires while the people suffer. Babylon has crowned false prophets, and the people follow them blindly. Rasta does not follow man-made authority. Rasta follows truth, truth that is lived, not just spoken. Babylon loves the performance of virtue, but not the discipline of righteousness. Politicians speak of peace while funding war. Corporations preach sustainability while poisoning the earth. Churches preach humility while sitting on gold. This is the great deception, darkness disguised as light. The people are weary. They feel the weight of lies but don't know where to turn. So many look for guidance, from governments, from celebrities, from influencers. But most of these figures are not leaders. They are puppets, controlled by wealth, by power, by fear. Real leadership cannot be bought. Real leadership serves the people and walks with humility. That is the way of the prophets. That is the way of Rastafari. Spirituality, too, has become corrupted. It is now a market, a product, meditation apps, branded enlightenment, hashtags and filters on what was once sacred. But you cannot buy your way to Jah. You cannot fast-track awakening. Rasta knows that spirituality is not found in trends. It is found in stillness, in humility, in silence under the stars, in the soil, in the breath, in the beat of the drum. Jah lives not in the noise, but in the whisper. Babylon sells distraction. Rasta returns to devotion. That's the difference. One scatters, the other gathers. One numbs the soul, the other awakens it. Look around. How many people truly feel connected to something higher, not just religiously, but spiritually? The world suffers not just from war and disease, but from emptiness. That is the greatest illness, a spirit forgotten. When people no longer feel the divine in life, they treat life as disposable. But Rasta says, every moment is sacred. Every breath is a chance to remember. You don't need a temple. Your body is a temple. You don't need a ritual. Your life is the ritual. Worship is not a performance. It is how you walk, how you love, how you resist the lies. To return to Jah is to unlearn Babylon, to cleanse the heart, to purify the thoughts, to walk gently, to speak truth even when it burns. Rasta is not a religion. It is a living movement, a rebellion rooted in love, a fire that Babylon cannot extinguish. We must become our own leaders, not waiting for the next hero, but becoming the light ourselves. Each person carries a spark of Jah. When we remember this, we stop looking outside. We rise from within. That is liberation. That is how we find our way again. All over the world, the signs are clear. The old systems are breaking. The lies are crumbling. People are tired, not just in body, but in spirit. Tired of war, tired of hatred, tired of chasing shadows. Something deep inside is calling humanity back, not to the past, but to the truth. And that truth has always been simple. We were never meant to live like this. Rasta has known this for a long time. While Babylon shouted, Rasta listened. While the world chased the illusion, Rasta held to the roots. Now, more than ever, those ancient teachings echo louder. Live clean, speak truth, walk in love, praise Jah, return to Zion. Zion is not just a place, it is a way of life, a consciousness, a vibration. It is when we treat one another with reverence, when we plant instead of destroy, when we chant instead of complain, when we remember that we are one, I and I, not I against you. Yes, the world is broken, but healing begins with one awakened soul, one conscious heart, one act of kindness. Babylon loses its power when you stop feeding it. You don't need to burn it down. You simply step out of it. Turn off the noise. Slow down. Breathe deep. Touch the earth with your bare feet. Listen to the wind. Feel the presence of Jah all around. Every day you have a choice. Feed fear or grow love. Conform or rise. Sleep or awaken. And the more of us that awaken, the harder it becomes for Babylon to control. That is the revolution. That is the movement. That is the Zion way. This message is not just a video. It's a reminder, a call to realignment. The world has lost its way, but you don't have to. Come forward with courage. Walk the narrow path, not because it's easy, but because it's right. Be the example your children can follow. Be the light in a world growing dark. The spirit of Zion lives in you. You only need to remember. So if these words speak to your soul, if you feel the vibration of truth in this message, then this is your moment to rise. Join the movement. Become part of the family that seeks peace over power, roots over riches, truth over titles. We walk not for fame, not for vanity, but for freedom. This is the Zion way, and the journey has only just begun. So subscribe now and hit the notification bell so you never miss a message that uplifts, challenges, and awakens. Share this video with others seeking the truth. Let them know they are not alone. There is a path. There is hope. There is Zion.